All right, we're live. Greetings, welcome back to Blackberry News, where everything is connected. Sorry about the delay. There was stuff going on with my, I don't know, my Rockfin post wasn't actually posted. So a lot of you were probably confused and wondering if there was going to be a show today. And yeah, just weird technical glitchy stuff that I had to figure out. And now I'm here. I'm live. Hello. Greetings. What's going on? Lightning Rod says lab grown meat don't scare me. Cricket burgers don't scare me. Cheese, you know what cheese is, right? Cheese is effing delicious. That's right. Anyways, it's Friday, and so we're just going to talk about this and that today. Kind of a more open format today. We're live on call-in, so the lines are open pretty much all day. I'm down to take calls. And so we'll get into it. But how y'all doing? And we'll talk about some lab grown meat that it has been approved for consumption. You know that you shouldn't actually take the FDA approval for anything as a sign that it's good for you or might not be bad for you. So we know that the FDA's approval is not worth much. It's about worth as much as a like on a YouTube video. Right? How much is a like worth? I don't know. Do you get anything from it? Yay. Hurrah. That's about what it's worth. It's not worth anything else. I can tell you that much. But we will talk about it. Let's check this out from Peter Dines first. Let's check this out from Peter Dines. I was also trying to figure out how to share audio from, for whatever reason, I could not get that share audio thing to work in StreamYard. Because the smoothness of the audio experience on this show could actually be better. Still trying to figure that out. Obsolete Optics says FDA approved Vioxx. Remember Vioxx? Excuse me. My word. Yeah, exactly. The FDA has approved many, many things that have gone on to hurt people, things that were not properly tested, things that ended up being extremely toxic, things that ended up being deadly. But people think suddenly, well, now the science has changed. Now we know better. Now we're doing better, right? Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Now now it's totally different. We would never do that again. Okay. I want you to check your thinking cap out thoroughly when I hear people say stuff like that. John D says lab grown meat needs a nitrogen source for protein. That needs photosynthesis and a large land area for growing feedstock. All it would do is reform protein and add added cost. I don't know. How are they growing this lab grown meat? Well, I don't know. We might as well just go there, right? Let's go there. Sorry to bring up a very aged, a dated expression from when was that? When was going there popular? Was that like 20 years ago? Oh no, you went there. I'm going there. When was that? When was that popular? I can't even remember. It was a while ago. Obsolete Optics says, what's next? Plant based vegetables? U.S. declares lab grown meat safe to eat. You like that? That's pretty good. Marketing department worked on that. Lab grown meat safe to eat. In groundbreaking move. The government's approval will open the market for a food praised for being more efficient and environmentally friendly. Oh. Is it environmentally friendly? Is it really? Is it people friendly? Is it animal friendly? Is it really friendly? The U.S. government has cleared the way for Americans to be able to eat lab grown meat after authorities deemed a meat product derived from animal cells to be safe for human consumption. Well, John D., that's where I guess it's coming from. Animal cells. Cells. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration will allow a California company called Upside Foods, right upside your head, Upside Foods, to take living cells from chickens and then grow them in a controlled laboratory environment to produce a meat product that doesn't involve the actual slaughter of any animals. I mean, okay. The FDA said it was ready to approve the sale of other lab grown meat, stating that it was engaged in discussions with multiple firms to do the same, including companies that want to grow seafood from the cells of marine life. The world is experiencing a food revolution, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration is committed to supporting innovation in the food supply. I don't know. What do you guys think? George Monbiot says lab-grown food will soon destroy farming and save the planet. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this is this uh is this good for the planet? Like, really? All long-term health questions aside, would it be good for the planet? And surely we're talking about this is trying to solve a problem of scale, right? The scale of a problem. The problem is not that we eat meat or vegetables or anything. That's not the problem. The problem is that we eat so much of it. And why do we eat so much of it? Because there's so many of us. There's so many of us. And so we're overfishing the seas, overfishing the fish, and we're overgrowing the crops, and we're overgrazing the animals, and we're keeping them in horrible conditions in order to feed the maw of a society that has grown to the size of 8 billion people. Right? John D says the impact should be compared with pulse, nuts, and grain versus meat versus various lab grown meat. Impact should include carbon, water transport, absence of vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals. Sure, yeah, all of those things. All those things, not just like what's in it, but what goes into it, what goes into the making of it. I don't know. Do you guys approve of lab grown meat? Do you think it's a good choice? Do you think maybe we should find other answers? It actually reminds me of Blade Runner and other, there's been plenty of movies where the future of food was strange indeed. Soylent Green, anybody? But, um, right, Blade Runner. They one of the parts of the story was that they kept, the the biosphere had collapsed, but they were able to keep everybody alive because of a revolution in how they could create synthetic food for people. Right? Andre says, I would eat it instead of eating my neighbor. Okay. Um, what's the whole food scam? Creative experiments. Can you give me the can you give me the gist of the whole food scam? I mean, I know it's a scam, but what are they saying about it is the scam? We're live on Rockfin too. There's some people watching on Rockfin, and you're free to comment if you wish, or is everybody staying out of the comments on Rockfin? What's going on? What's going on? Ptomaine chicken recipe? Whole Food rates their meat as level 5 sustainable, but it's not. Their vendors never reach level 5. Yeah. Um. Well, yeah. Well, and I guess everybody should know that the whole organic food industry, the whole organic food, super overpriced organic food wave. Um, I'm not going to paint too broad of a brush and say all of that is a lie, but a lot of it is not organic. A lot of it is not grown or created at the standards that you think, especially if it's made for mass consumption. Um, so I don't know. I don't know about the lab grown meat wave revolution. We are living in interesting times, and they are bound to get more interesting. Wendy DeLeese, yeah. Well, YouTube hates links like Google hates searches. We're not interested in giving you information or the information you want. We're interested in giving you the information we want. Your own personal search be damned. When a search engine becomes a hide engine. I mean, there's been a whole slew of futuristic movies about what people ate in the future and how they stayed alive. Right? There was whatever they ate in the original Star Wars movie at the beginning. They were farmers, but what were they farming? Caleb Rochester says I have no comments. I don't know. I think maybe Rockfin is being glitchy today because when I posted the video for today like an hour ago, and when I went to go start the show, it was like stuck in a spiraling loop, and it was not actually visible to anybody. So I was like, "What is going on there?" So I had to delete it and repost the video. That's why I was so late today. Part of the reason I was late. Yeah, and are we actually going to if we have this another revolution in how people eat, um, is it gonna change the course of history? Is it gonna change the trajectory that we're on? I personally don't think that food is the source of our problem. It is a problem. Well, we'll show this. I'm not going to be completely naive and say that food doesn't present a problem at all, but I'm just saying it's more a matter of scale, right? And sure, yes, we can make food in a way that is harmful to the environment. There have been other collapses before based around food, based around humans and food. Um, but I don't think that food itself is the problem, right? It's how we're doing it. Gene says animal agriculture is destroying the planet and all fishing needs to stop. Well, so if this ended fishing, if this ended a lot of fishing, if this ended a lot of animal slaughterhouses and factory farms, if this ended a lot of that stuff, do you think that's a good thing? For one thing, I mean we've talked about regenerative agriculture or there's I think I think farming and growing your own food and even raising some animals to an extent. I think it's key to actually right actually fixing climate change or if we're ever going to fix it. So I think we actually need all these things. um, we don't need to stop these things. We just need to do them in a wildly different way. Gene says, I disagree. Animal agriculture nearly destroyed the Costa Rican ecosystems. We have reversed it now. Well, how did you reverse it? Did you get rid of animals or did you just change the way in which you did it? And I think that's the point is not the way in which we did it. Wagyu meat. What is Wagyu meat? Creative experiments. We're just John today. Today we're just talking. It's Friday. We're just hanging out. We'll talk about some other stories, sure, but so Gene says we have reclaimed the cow pastures and are not allowing further cattle or dairy destruction of the environment. Okay. Okay. Right. I know you guys I know you guys are disagreeing with me what I'm saying. Yes, food is creating a lot of problems on the planet, but I'm just saying how we do it and the scale at which we do it is very, very important. And most of it is scale. Most of it is about feeding 8 billion humans. So, on some levels, the lab grown meat thing is um, akin to the energy green energy revolution, right? We think that we're going to switch over to this other way of doing something, and that's going to save the planet, and it's going to make everything great, and not necessarily. That's not necessarily the case, right? So is this going to be just another example, another wrinkle of the same move to try to switch people over to another, source of food, source of energy, source of consumerism on some level. Greenwashing, yes, Andre. Thank you for being succinct about that. It's mostly a problem of scale. Interglacial optimist. Oh, there's an ant on my microphone. Eliminate all corporate farms and go back to regenerative agriculture on a super small scale. Yeah. Right. So if we, that's my own personal opinion is that and I agree with you that if we if everybody was growing their own food hyper locally, if there was no global shipping of, food all over the planet and people were just raising, growing and eating food very very locally in ways that were not destructive, I think that is the way to go, and I think that's on some levels could actually be helpful to the planet. But can we do that at the scale at which we're doing? How impactful to the population of the planet would that be? How right over time, you'd probably want to talk, have conversations about lowering the population of the planet, not say, I even have to say it, have adult conversations about not having as many people on the planet, right? Not when I say adult, I don't mean knee jerk reactionary, dumb conversations. I mean adult, thoughtful conversations about it. Wagyu. What's so nice about Wagyu? Am I even saying it right? Gene says, imagine if people in China decided to eat as much meat and dairy every day as people in the US do. Not possible. We would need a different planet. Or, what if uh well, it's getting there already, but if everybody in China lived at the same, socioeconomic level as everybody in the US did, that would be problematic too. But they're already going that direction. But they eat plastic rice, don't they? Oh, I see. Thanks, Creative Experiment. I missed it. You said I explained it earlier, but Wagyu cattle don't need grain to get fat marble in the muscle. It is genetically natural. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. All right. Yeah, I mean, most of our problems are problems of scale, and it's unfortunate that we can't even talk about it. If you talk about the issue of, well, what why do we have all these factories? Why are we cutting down forests to graze cattle? Why are we doing all of these things? Yes, of course, profits are involved. It's very profitable to chop down a forest in Brazil and raise cattle there, and then grow the cattle there, and then ship the cattle all the way to uh, Japan or China to be processed and then shipped to the U.S. Like, of course, yeah, that's totally profitable. But it's also because there's a market. There's a market for all of this beef. There's a market for all of this soy. There's a market for all of these chickens. There's a market for all of it, right? And the market depends on the consumer base is so big. It's so big. My, what a big consumer base you have there. Consume, consume, consume. Mm. I don't know anything about Wagyu beef because I don't personally eat meat, and I don't actually. Once in a while, I cook meat for the people around me, that I love that eat meat, but I'm never cooking them steak. It's never like, hey guys, you want a steak? It's just never a thing. Um, but occasionally I get some, quote unquote organic field grown beef for people. Something. I don't know. You guys want to move on? Let's move on. I'm gonna check out my buy me a coffees. Oh, I got a Poppy became a supporter. Got a membership to Black Bear News, to the buymeacoffee.com Black Bear News. So that's cool. Thanks, Poppy. You guys can support me monthly there, or just one coffee at a time at buymeacoffee.com/Black Bear News, or Rockfin tips are really cool. I like Rockfin tips. Astro Master says maybe if some genius came up with lab food that was actually a good alternative to farmed animals, then yeah, but it is not likely. It would take a miracle to come up with a new food system that is actually better. You don't get something for nothing, and most of the time you trade one thing for another, of course. Very good. Yeah. Well, also, I mean, nature is pretty miraculous in the way that it works. And we just keep on trying to replace nature with like, hey, how about a new improved version of something that happens naturally in the world? It's just always a bad version of it. And we're always we're destroying nature and trying to improve on nature when it's just like, you could just stop and just go, you know what, nature's got something there. Nature, the thing that keeps us alive, the thing that we came from and will go back to, the thing that literally is the world, right? The planet that we live on. Pretty effing amazing, if I must say so myself. Pretty fantastic the way it works. And yeah, Tor, I want to reintroduce a super chat, but I got a strike on YouTube a couple weeks or a month ago. I don't know, a while ago I got a strike, and so the strike is over sometime in November, actually pretty soon. I should probably check it. But I reactivated my channel, and they made me, they're making me jump through all the hoops again to be able to monetize my channel and activate super chats. I think I'm pretty much there. I just need to wait for the strike to drop off my channel, and then we will have super chats. But sure, super chats are cool. Super chats would be great. It would be awesome too if YouTube let me have a natural organic viewership again too. One of the reasons why I stopped broadcasting on YouTube was because it made me sad. Because they were taking away my subscribers and my views. They were really throttling my views, like totally throttling my views. And they're doing it right now, I'm sure. So I was getting, had like 100 or so people watching a day, anywhere from 50 to 100 people watching my show every day. I was getting like thousands of views on all my videos, and now it's like I can't get more than like 30 people watching my show on YouTube, and all of my videos have like 200 views. Like that's not even real. The views are not even real. The views in my viewership is not even real. But like, how can I prove that? How can I prove that without sounding crazy? But I know for a fact that, one time there were a whole lot of people watching me on YouTube, and it wasn't like something I said that made everybody go away. It was YouTube telling everybody nobody's watching this channel. Yeah. You can go away now. Nobody's even paying attention to this channel. This channel is failing. Like, no, it's not, actually. Whatever. Meanwhile, I have like 16,000 subscribers on Rockfin. That's why I'm urging people to go to Rockfin, because Rockfin, you don't have any ads. You can tip me on Rockfin. I get paid pretty directly on Rockfin from the tips. Well, that's another thing. If you tip me on YouTube, I have to reach a certain threshold to even get paid on YouTube. So, yeah, your tips on Rockfin go directly to me. What else is good about Rockfin? Yeah, they don't squash my viewers or my viewership. Yeah, I have like 16,000 and growing subscribers on Rockfin, and they keep on growing every day. So I don't, I'm just doing YouTube because people are still prefer to watch me on YouTube. And so I'm just trying to get, all the viewers that I can, but it's frustrating. All right. Let's move on, because we've taken up like most of the show time with this discussion. It's a good one, though. Tis a good one. Well, I mean, just along in the same vein as all of this. And again, here, this is a problem of scale, or this is the after effect of so many humans and all their animals that feed them being on the planet. But this graphic helps me wrap my head around the magnitude of the problem. Notice the amount of current biomass for wild animals in green versus that for livestock and humans. So 4% of global mammal biomass is wild animals, 4%. 34% is humans, and 62% is the livestock and the pets of the humans. The livestock that serves the humans, and the pets that the humans enjoy having. Yep. And what's the problem is not these guys. The problem is these guys called the humans. I know. You're talking about an anti-human agenda. I'm not anti-human. I'm just anti so many humans. Right? I'm not anti-human. Just so many, right? I'm just like I'm not anti-water, but if you drink enough water, you will die. So I'm not anti-water at all. I love water. Water is good for you. Water is life. But I'm anti too much water, right? Because it would actually make you sick if you had too much water. I'm anti, too much alcohol. I'm anti too much of anything. Right? I love food. I love to eat. I love coffee. Man, do I love coffee. You guys know how much I love coffee, but too much coffee will kind of wreck you, right? It kind of make you feel a little sick, a little bad, you might have to go, whoa, bro, I got to lay off the coffee. But nobody can say, whoa, bro, we got to lay off the humans. Why wouldn't you ever say that? Why would you say there's never too many humans in the planet, right? Like there's never, you can never have too much coffee. Yes, you can. You can never have too much water. Yes, you can. You can never have too much alcohol. Yes, you can. You can never have too many humans. But there's people out there that are saying that all the time. These people are insane. If anybody says that out of their mouths, you are an insane jackhole. You are an insane motherfucker. If you say it could never be too many humans, you're an insane lunatic retard. Sorry, got a little emotional there. You're a lunatic if you say such things. But they run around and go, oh, that's the anti-human agenda. These people are anti-human. You're a Malthusian, a eugenicist. No, you're insane. If you say those things out of your mouth, you are insane. I don't know how I could just say it over and over again. Anyways, whatever. um, I said it before and I'll say it again. But yeah, we just can't even have a conversation about. It's like having being able to have a conversation about, you know, Uncle Jimmy's drinking too much. Oh, we can't talk about that. No, we can't. I think I pissed some people off by saying that. I pissed some people off by cursing and screaming for a second, but let me know. I'm just really trying to make a point. You're an insane lunatic if you think that you can't have a conversation around there being too many humans. And if you're all in your feelings about that or emotional about that, I don't know. Maybe the problem is your problem. Maybe you have a problem with something, thinking, whatever. All right, let's go on. Peter Dines. Right now, you don't see the pain you're causing as you emit carbon dioxide. Gates calls private jets his guilty pleasure. This is Bill Gates. We have to save the planet. We have to save the world. We have to do the things. We have to, right. I mean, Bill Gates, whether he's a eugenicist or not, he certainly doesn't care whether people live or die, right? He certainly sees people as, laboratory animals. He certainly sees, people, especially of other races as, his own private, laboratory pets. Right. He doesn't care whether people live or die. I don't know whether he's a eugenicist. Some people, say that he is. Maybe he is. But I see these people not so much as Malthusian or eugenicist. I see them as not caring. Seeing, they don't care about you or I, right, and our future or any of that. But it's just funny because he supposedly cares about climate change, and private jets are his guilty pleasure. Okay, and I'm sure he has a couple of yachts, throwing in some yachts there too. His emissions footprint must be large, right? So these people are not the people that should be managing the drawdown. They should not be managing, the future of the planet. Personally, I'm for them being liquidated, as in their assets liquidated, right? Their companies liquidated, assets liquidated, and sent on their merry way. Have fun, have a good time, enjoy yourself. Keep a few mil if you really want to, but otherwise, you're out of business. What else are we talking about today? Ooh, this is interesting. I only heard one other person talk about this, and I believe it was the uh, new leader of Alberta, the province of Alberta in Canada, saying we don't want the WEF people. Uh, we don't want their agenda. But Ron DeSantis says things like the World Economic Forum, those policies are dead on arrival in the state of Florida. I actually support that sentiment. Do I support Ron DeSantis? I don't know. I support some of the things he's done, but I'm not necessarily a I'm not a yay Ron DeSantis. But it's interesting that he's saying stuff like this out loud, and I think we need more people to say stuff like this out loud. I appreciate him saying these things out loud.
I want to have the values not of Davos imposed on us, but of places like Destin and Dunedin, where I grew up. Things like the World Economic Forum, those policies are dead on arrival in the state of Florida. We are not going to go down that road. I want to have the.
I mean, that's cool. Oh, you guys didn't see that. Sorry. Well, that was him speaking, but I appreciate that sentiment. I support it. I support more people saying it. Okay, I'm supporting the sentiment, not necessarily the person, but because he's one of the only few, one of the very few people saying that out loud, people in positions of power saying that out loud. Hopefully that idea will gain a little more popularity, because yeah, I'd like to see, just as in the same way as Bill Gates have being taxed out of his wealth, or not being able to have so much wealth. In the same way that I support that, I support the WEF being exposed for what they are, and everybody knowing that their plan is not the good plan, and that they should actually just go away. They should go away. They should stop. They should not have any influence on the decisions of the world or the decisions of world leaders. They should not be grooming or proposing anything whatsoever. They should just be widely discredited and not listened to. That doesn't mean that they can't actually say things that are correct, but I just don't want people. This is a really big problem in people not understanding what climate change is or how real it is. And I see this all the time. And people also conflate climate change with COVID. They are not the same things whatsoever. Yes, can they be used to implement policies that will not necessarily benefit people on the whole? Sure. COVID 1984. I like this Twitter account, but he's saying the World Economic Forum says they need to transform the entire financial system, energy system, and food system because of climate change. He's saying it as if that's ridiculous, right? Because of climate change. Actually, that's true. I replied to him, that's true. They're saying, just because they're saying it doesn't mean it's not true. It is true. We need to transform the entire financial system, energy system, and food system, but not in the way that they want to do it. So just we need to reject everything about the way that they want to transform the system, and understand that their plans are not the good plans, even though they're saying things to many people that actually could be quite logical. So what are they? Let's see what they're saying. Anyways, currently governments, private companies, and central banks are working together to achieve this, and people have no say. Well, that isn't that the problem too? If we're going to transform the financial system and the food system, I don't want private companies and central banks being involved on any level. Like, these people need to be out of the conversation. Governments, sure, maybe, if the governments are representing the wishes of the people. I'm all right with the governments being in there if the governments are sovereign states, if the governments are not bowing to the diktats of, central bankers and whatnot. But it's the part about the private companies and the central bankers that's the issue. That those people need to go. No, let's listen to what this woman has to say.
discussion right now is on these sort of pots of money, the finance, financing mitigation, financing adaptation, and loss and damage. In neither of those three pots have we got anywhere like the needed money. So we need to move beyond that. Not instead of, but in addition to actually focusing on transforming the entire financial system. And actually, there is an objective in the Paris Agreement 2.1c that talks about transforming the whole system. So we need a lot more attention on that. And then the third point I just want to make is that there's two systems that we have to fix to solve the climate change problem. The first one we're well on the way to fixing. It just really now creates a political will to take that one over the edge. That's the energy system. The other energy system that we have to fix is the one that propels humans. That's the food and agricultural system. And there's just not enough discussion about that. We'll never get to 1.5 unless we address that system.
I mean, some of the things she's saying are right on. Well, and hence the FDA approving the lab grown meat, right? Like they think this is going to transform the food system. Something. But why, we don't need the trillions of dollars, and we don't need all the private bankers, getting out their knives and forks to cut up the pie of the new economy. It's way simpler than that, but these people don't have any idea. It's going to be a mess. It's turning into a mess. The next few decades are going to be very interesting indeed, because you're going to have governments and entities like this trying to promote ideas, push out ideas that are going to take us into more of a dystopian hellscape, not less. But there are people there are real people out there who understand the situation, understand the problem, and are growing their own food, getting off grid, maybe setting up their own sustainable communities. Right? There are people that are interested in, casting off industrial society mostly as we know it, or trying to live a much simpler life, trying to live, with a smaller carbon footprint, all those things. All of those things. There are people trying to do, to try to create some change outside of, the system that they're trying to recreate. They're just trying to recreate it in another image, but I don't know how that's going to go for them. I really don't. I don't know how that's going to go for them. I actually don't see it being quite that successful, but if they lock everybody into a central bank digital currency and force people to be in the system, right? You actually can't exist outside of the system, because they're going to force you with this programmed money to buy certain things, to spend your money in certain places. And there's a whole lot of ways that they can start implementing a much more top-down command and control society, I guess. Here's the last thing I'll talk about. Interestingly, in the midterms, voters pass historic climate initiatives in silent surprise of U.S. midterms. So, a lot of people are aware that the climate issue is a real issue, and they're passing climate-related bills or legislation locally, even though on a national level, it's just not happening. It's really not happening. New York State passed a historic multi-billion-dollar investment into environmental improvement projects. I mean, I'm saying that mostly for sentiment's sake. I don't necessarily think these things are going to like fix climate change, but this is where people's minds and hearts are at. Like they understand there's a problem and they want to see solutions to the problem. A $50 million Green Bond Act in Rhode Island and Colorado. The city of Boulder approved a climate tax as well as a ballot measure that will allow the city to borrow against that tax to fund climate projects. I mean, people want something done. And this also underscores the fact that people want progressive agendas. People want progressive legislation. People want, support progressive ideas. You just can't get any satisfaction on a national level when we're constantly being represented by these puppets of said central banks. But on a local level, people still try to pass progressive agendas, progressive policies, progressive public policies. These things are all very, these things are still popular. Will, thank you, Reagan. Insane jackholes. Yeah. It's true though. It's true. Don't be an insane jackhole. Okay. Whatever you do, try to use that as a mantra in your morning routine. Yeah, it's unfortunate because that's what people want. That's what the voters want. That people are aware that they want good things in their lives. They want progressive ideas in their lives. They want real change. They just cannot get that change on a national level, but on a local level, things can kind of sneak through here and there. Woke Fridays. Okay. Woke Fridays. Woke Wednesdays. I could think of, some other names for Friday, a Friday show. All right, guys. Well, it's been interesting. It's been fun. Denver Adaway will end with this comment. In the end, is the end of humanity if that happens. Let me see. Hold on. AI needs to be at arm's length observing, not internally involved at a cellular level as the mRNA AI produced code became the vaccines have possibly enabled. Right. Oh man, that's a whole other conversation, right? That's a whole other conversation I think we're going to have to get into at another show. All right, guys. Thanks for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. I will see you all tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Standard. And until next time, peace.